not 2050. It's not a scene from a science fiction movie. Right now, in mid-2025, a nation has quietly been building the future, not with promises, but with real products. Commercial flying cars, robots running marathons, AI chips 30% cheaper than NVIDIA's, and quantum computers powering the world's first secure international communication link. While many Western countries are still debating ethical guidelines or perfecting AI models in labs, China has millions riding in driverless taxis, running homegrown software on operating systems independent of Android, and testing non-invasive brain-computer interfaces. The question is no longer, can they do it? It's, is the rest of the world ready to live in this new reality? Not with pledges, but with data, devices, and business models already in operation, from robotics, AI, and quantum computing to clean energy, and signs that the geopolitical tech map may be redrawn not through summits, but through code. Join Top 10 Discoveries Official as we unpack 8 tech fields where China is reshaping the global game. 1. Multidimensional Transportation. Imagine booking a ride on an app, and minutes later, an autonomous flying taxi takes off to pick you up. No noisy propellers, no emissions, no traffic jams. This is no longer fiction. In 2025, the eHang 216S, an electric vertical takeoff and landing eVTOL aircraft developed in China, has entered commercial service in Guangzhou and Hefei, following over 10,000 passenger test flights. Each flight lasts approximately 21 minutes, with a top speed of 80 miles per hour, 130 kilometers per hour, and a range of 19 miles, approximately 30.5 kilometers. Notably, charging currently takes 2 hours, though the company is working toward fast charging tech. 10-minute charging remains a goal, not reality. On deployment scale, eHang has secured orders from at least 7 countries, totaling over 1,200 units, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and some European nations. Claims of 18 countries remain unverified, but the tech's international reach is clear. Meanwhile, on the ground, another revolution is unfolding. China has greenlit large-scale driverless taxi, robo-taxi, operations in major cities like Shenzhen, Beijing, and Wuhan. Led by companies like Biio, Apollo, and WeRide, these robo-taxi systems have logged over 7 million rides, a figure dwarfing US trials where Waymo hit approximately 250,000 weekly trips by April 2025. What's driving the buzz? Fares are 3 times cheaper than traditional taxis, and notably, no serious accidents have been reported after over 20 million miles of operation. With eVTOLs, China is turning flying taxis into an industrialized product, outpacing Western nations still grappling with safety regulations. With robo-taxis, they've optimized a commercial model rather than stopping at tech demos, paving the way for driverless urban futures. From ground to sky, China is building a 3D transportation ecosystem where data, AI, and electrification merge into a flexible, affordable, low-emission mobility network. This is just the start of a world where smart neighborhoods extend beyond the horizontal into the skies. Second, humanoid robotics. While much of the world still sees humanoid robots as trade show novelties, China has deployed them on actual production lines. In 2025, the Unitree G1, a compact humanoid robot, became a social media sensation, not just for viral dance moves, but for its $16,000 price tag. Compared to Boston Dynamics' Spot at $75,000, the G1 is nearly 5 times cheaper, making robots, once lab-exclusive tech, accessible to small businesses, universities, and even independent inventors. This isn't just a product, it's a sign of a new wave of affordable, commercialized robotics. To grasp this shift, look at BYD, China's largest electric vehicle maker. At its Hefei factory, 97% of processes are automated, with over 1,200 welding and assembly robots, installing 4 tires in just 48 seconds. And that's just one plant. With nearly 1 million employees, BYD aims for 500 robots per 10,000 workers by 2025, roughly 50,000 robots across its system. Observers believe BYD is close to or has met this goal, given its heavy investment, rapid production scaling, and internal humanoid robot initiatives for factory environments. This is a rare blend of low-cost, large-scale production, and real-world application. It's allowed China to close the gap with leading humanoid robotics firms, not by matching the highest tech, but by democratizing tech at the market's lower tier. And often it's this mass market segment that drives profound change. In factories like BYD's, robots don't just weld or assemble, they learn and adapt. This is where AI, smart manufacturing, and humanoid robotics converge to create a next-generation production ecosystem, where every worker is backed by a silicon colleague. 3. Made in China AI. 2025 marks a surprising leap for Chinese artificial intelligence, not through a new chatbot, but by building a complete AI ecosystem, spanning chips to algorithms, labs to commercial products. DeepSeek R1 Super Mathematical Reasoning Model. With 671 billion parameters, DeepSeek R1 is pushing AI's mathematical reasoning to new heights. In standard tests like AIME and MATH 500, it scores approximately 80%, nearly matching top US Olympiad students. What's notable isn't just the result, but how it's achieved. DeepSeek uses a mixture of experts architecture, activating only 37 billion parameters per inference, optimizing resources and cutting operating costs by up to 95% compared to US models of similar size. This means a massive model that's still accessible from a laptop or gaming PC via a compressed version. QW30B, powerful, affordable, runs on gaming rigs. If DeepSeek R1 is for labs, QW30B, or QWQ-32B, is AI for the masses. With 32 billion parameters and a cost of approximately $0.2 per million requests, this model is designed to run on consumer GPUs like the RTX 4090, letting startups or individual developers tap advanced reasoning power. Notably, QW30B's performance rivals DeepSeek R1 on many math benchmarks, showing that bigger doesn't always mean smarter. China is prioritizing efficiency over size. Ascend 91B, homegrown 7nm AI chip. Behind these models is a less noticed but critical step. Domestic AI hardware production. The Ascend 91B, a high-end AI chip developed by Huawei and made by SMIC on a 7nm process, reportedly matches NVIDIA's H100 in performance, though debates persist over yield, approximately 20 to 30%. Technically, it's larger with lower transistor density than TSMC's chips, but its existence, amid EUV shortages, equipment sanctions, and EDA restrictions, is what matters. The story of DeepSeek, QW30B, and Ascend 910B isn't isolated. It's about coordination across models, software, and hardware, forming an independent supply chain that functions with or without Western support. China doesn't just want a local ChatGPT, they're rewriting the AI production model, from chips to cloud, devices to training. And if you think this only matters to AI engineers, think again. If Chinese AI runs better, cheaper, and independently of US ecosystems, the next AI app you use might not come from Silicon Valley, but from Shenzhen. 4th, brain-machine interfaces and biotech. If you think brainwave communication is still sci-fi imagery, think again. In China, it's leaving the lab. Brain Talker, turning thoughts into digital signals. Launched in 2019 by Tianjin University and China Electronics Corporation, Brain Talker isn't a complete device. It's a specialized chip designed to help brain-computer interface BCI systems decode brainwaves faster, more accurately, and with less power. The goal is clear: enable stroke or paralysis patients to communicate via thought, without surgery or physical movement. One day, instead of typing, we might just think, and computers will understand. However, claims of 50 words per minute without implants remain unverified. Recent studies suggest non-invasive BCI systems, using EEG, achieve approximately 10 to 12 words per minute. Faster systems, reaching 78 words per minute, typically require surgical electrode implants, like Stanford's experiments. BrainTalker is non-invasive, and if it truly hits 50 words per minute, it would be a global breakthrough. For now, it's more potential than proven. Claims that BrainTalker is 100 times more effective and uses 1,000 times less power than older devices may hold if compared to early analog systems or non-optimized chips. Though speed and efficiency debates persist, the tech's direction is clear. China aims to use BCI to restore communication and mobility for stroke patients. Systems like the US's IPSI use non-invasive BCI to control prosthetic hands for stroke patients, but BrainTalker promises to do so at a lower cost, without complex external devices. If this tech advances as planned, affordable, safe, high-performance BCI could become a global standard for rehabilitation. The thrilling and slightly unnerving possibility is, if chips like BrainTalker work well, we might ditch keyboards, mice, and touchscreens. Imagine a future where emails are sent by thought, navigation is driven by intuition, and paralyzed individuals communicate normally. That's not 2050. It could be 2030 if tech like BrainTalker goes mainstream. Fifth, quantum computing and encrypted communication. If AI is the brain of the new era, quantum computers are the reflexes, and encrypted intercontinental communication is the nervous system. China is investing heavily in all three. Zhuangzi G3, or Zhuangzi 3.0, is a 105-qubit superconducting quantum computer developed by the University of Science and Technology of China. In a test with an 83-qubit random circuit, it completed a task in hundreds of seconds, something the world's top supercomputer, Frontier, would take 6.4 billion years to process. That's approximately 1 quadrillion times faster, a mind-boggling figure beyond human comprehension. Even compared to Google's best, e.g. Willow, Zhuangzi 3.0 is approximately 1 million times faster on equivalent tasks. But it's not just speed. China is inching closer to quantum advantage, where quantum computers move beyond lab research to practical platforms. A lesser-known name, Modza, is reportedly an intercontinental encrypted communication system, combining a 3,000-mile terrestrial network with satellite links. While no official public documents confirm Modza, its description resembles specialized encrypted telecom networks like Intelsat or Eutelsat, serving banks, governments, or global finance. Picture a digital superhighway where data isn't just fast but encrypted to military-grade standards, flowing across continents and space, from Beijing to Dubai, Shanghai to Frankfurt. In a world where AI makes decisions, latency isn't just technical, it's a strategic edge. Why pair these technologies? Answer: speed plus security equals control advantage. With Zhuangzi 3.0, China nears the ability to solve problems no supercomputer can touch. With a network like Modza, strategic data and financial information can move without interception or leaks, even across continents. This isn't about competing apps or software. It's a new infrastructure order, where extreme computing and unhackable communication become the backbone for finance, security, healthcare, and even governance. If terms like quantum, encrypted satellites, or intercontinental communication once sounded like conference jargon, they're now tied to real devices operating in real environments with government-scale funding. 6. Thorium energy and molten salt reactors. Amid global debates over solar, offshore wind, and battery storage, China has taken a nearly forgotten path. Thorium-based nuclear power using molten salt reactors that don't require water cooling. Notably, this choice isn't from industrialized hubs like Shanghai or Shenzhen, but the arid heart of the Gobi Desert. The TMS RLF-1 reactor is the first testbed in China's thorium strategy. At just 2 megawatts, seemingly small, its significance lies not in scale, but in its water-free operation. TMS RLF-1 uses air cooling, ideal for water-scarce regions like the Gobi. This flips energy logic. Instead of bringing plants to water, they're bringing plants to the desert. While much of the world grapples with traditional uranium-based nuclear cycles, laden with technical, safety, and public perception challenges, thorium emerges as a promising alternative. Compared to uranium, thorium is far more abundant, with 3 to 4 times higher natural distribution in Earth's crust. This reduces supply pressures and lowers extraction and processing costs. On security, thorium offers clear advantages. Uranium, if enriched and reprocessed, can be weaponized, a risk that makes nuclear tech politically sensitive. Thorium, when processed, produces uranium-233, but it's accompanied by highly radioactive isotopes that hinder weaponization efforts. This makes thorium less viable for military purposes and better suited for civilian energy. Additionally, a major challenge of traditional nuclear power is waste. Uranium reactor waste can persist for tens of thousands of years, requiring costly long-term storage. Thorium cycles produce waste with a much shorter radioactive lifespan, approximately 300 to 500 years. This reduces the burden on future generations and improves nuclear's public image. In short, thorium isn't just a technical solution. It's a political and social opportunity, reshaping views on nuclear power in a world seeking clean, safe, sustainable energy. The focus isn't just TMSR LF1, but the scale and pace of expansion. 2029. China plans to launch a 10-megawatt electric, a 60-megawatt thermal thorium reactor, powering tens of thousands of homes. 2035. With a 200-gigawatt nuclear goal and current growth, estimates suggest China could deploy dozens of small to mid-scale thorium plants in cities, deserts, and remote areas. If successful, this could redefine power plants, from massive river or sea-cooled structures to compact, flexible units needing minimal infrastructure. The U.S. led molten salt tech in the 1960s at Oak Ridge, but halted before commercialization. While the West debates feasibility, China is testing, and in places no one expected. Thorium may not fully replace uranium, but it's a strategic key to expanding nuclear power in water-scarce or publicly skeptical regions. If commercialized, clean, safe, flexible energy is no longer a distant dream. 7.6G and Internet of Things. Imagine a world where mobile signals don't just connect phones, but link your body to a doctor across the globe, literally. That's the ambition of 6G, the next mobile network generation. China is heavily investing in to surpass 5G's physical limits. Data speeds up to 100 gigabits per second, latency under 1 microsecond, over 100 times faster than human reflexes. At that speed, a surgical scalpel move in Beijing could occur near simultaneously in a Shanghai hospital. No planes, no wires. While no specific reports confirm 6G remote surgeries yet, 5G enabled a 2019 brain surgery across 3,000 kilometers. 6G, with 2,000 times lower latency, could usher in a borderless healthcare era. China has launched 6G trials in Beijing and Shanghai, involving giants like Huawei, ZTE, China Mobile, Ericsson, and Nokia Shanghai Bell. Though still at core network and terminal testing, it's a foundation for what's next. This aligns with national tech strategies globally, but China appears to have accelerated earlier, with hundreds of patents and dozens of 6G test cities noted. If 5G was the foundation for smart cities, 6G could be the brain. In an Internet of Things era where everything from cars to traffic lights to ventilators communicates and acts autonomously, 6G doesn't just transmit data, it transmits decisions. 8. Biomanufacturing and synthetic agriculture. Picture a factory with no smokestacks or metal machines, just billions of bacteria consuming CO2 and producing protein, fueling millions of organisms. That's not fiction. It's next-generation biomanufacturing. China and others are heavily investing in protein production from CO2 gas, a form of aerial agriculture. Claims of 5,000 tons per year sound promising, but feeding 1 million pigs requires at least 67,500 tons, over 13 times more. This is just the start of a long journey. Still, it shows carbon isn't just atmospheric waste. It's becoming a living resource. A Texas project is developing genetically engineered bacteria to destroy cancer cells at a projected cost of $1 per dose, tens of thousands of times cheaper than current treatments. Still in research, if successful, it could be an earthquake in global healthcare. Program bacteria as selective biorobots, attacking cancer at low cost. One figure is redefining the global pharma map, 24%. That's China's share of the world's pharmaceutical supply chain, especially in generic drugs and antibiotics. This isn't just industry, it's geopolitics. Who controls healthcare controls trust. In a world increasingly shaped by tech and supply chains, the question isn't who's faster, but who masters the entire ecosystem. China seems to have chosen a quiet but resilient path, building from the roots, starting at the core, with steady, decisive investments in 13 key fields, from telecom, AI, and clean energy to biotech and semiconductors. While some nations debate whether to approve trials in China's deserts, remote regions, and underground labs, next-gen tech prototypes are already running. Not everything will succeed, but what's striking is each external restriction doesn't slow progress. It seems to fuel internal self-reliance. From quantum computers to thorium reactors, homegrown AI to 6G networks, a local tech framework is forming, not to isolate but to reduce dependency. In the long run, whoever controls the innovation chain, from materials and infrastructure to end applications, truly leads the global tech order. Today, it's undeniable. An inward-focused but not closed development model is emerging as an alternative to importing knowledge. When self-reliance becomes a standard, not the advantage, the final question isn't about speed, but the depth of strategy. What do you think? Is the long-term ecosystem investment approach one nation should emulate? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more tech, geostrategic, and future trend analyses with Top 10 Discoveries Official. Top 10 Discoveries Official will return with more astonishing breakthroughs, monumental projects, and untold stories from around the globe. Goodbye and see you next time.